Hello and welcome to the Patty Pod, episode 7. Happy holidays, everybody. I am coming to you live from Duluth, Minnesota, my hometown. I'm currently sitting in my parents' condo, which is in a building down by Lake Superior. And I'm on the second floor. There's some big windows that look out on the hill of Duluth, and the sun is beginning its descent as it is 4:05 p.m. here. This is December 17th was Saturday, 18th was Sunday. So this is 19th was Monday. This is Tuesday, the 20th. Getting really close to Christmas. Happy holidays. I'm in a good mood. I'm kind of in my happy place, I have to say. It is Christmas break from my school. I come to Duluth every year on Christmas break, and I eat at my favorite diner, Uncle Louie's, which is my favorite diner in the world. I've sampled many diners. I thought New York City would be filled with exquisite diners. I was wrong about that. I tracked down the ones that are written up, and I've been disappointed virtually every time. The best diner in the world is Uncle Louie's on 4th Street in Duluth, Minnesota. The omelets are tasty and perfectly cooked, no overcooked eggs, bursting with flavor throughout. The hash browns are perfectly crisp and also soft in the middle, also bursting with flavor. The pancakes are delicious, a little bit of a crisp edge, which is what you want in a good pancake, and a kind of a vanilla flavor. They have a bunch of their own homemade syrups, and the owner, Deb, is great. She's a character. She'll make you laugh, and you'll get a great breakfast, and it's good price, and it's super fast. I mean, the place is perfect. So I go there as often as I can. I went there yesterday. It was awesome. I dream about it when I'm not in Duluth. I also get to play hockey. I went and played with my nephews on the outdoor rink, the much ballyhooed outdoor rink experience, much ballyhooed in the hockey world, for good reason. Fresh air. Duluth does it perfectly well. The rinks are all nestled amongst the trees, and there's virtually nothing better than being nestled. I try to be nestled as often as I can be, and Duluth has got many things that are nestled. Neighborhoods nestled amongst the hills and the trees, and hockey rinks nestled amongst rivers and woods. It is idyllic. So I went yesterday, played with my nephews a little bit, just kind of skated around when they were playing with their buddies. And I got a chance today to play at the indoor rink. There's a bi-weekly, twice-a-week game that attracts some pretty good players. I play in it every time I get back. I play it in the summer when I come back, when I'm on summer break. And at this Christmas break, fun guys and really like a good amount of talent. A lot of guys that played D1 or played at a good D3 school, guys that played in good programs in high school. I'm sure there's some ex-NHLers that have been out there, ex-AHLers, that kind of thing. I felt great about today. I think I kept up with the group. There was one guy that had played professionally in Europe, one guy that had played at Princeton, and two guys that were active D1 players. And come on, these guys are playing all the time, and they were both flying. They were brothers. One guy plays for Omaha, and one guy plays for Denver. Both good programs. Denver especially. Denver is the cream of the crop right now. I guess this kid's not one of their top players according to the kid, but nevertheless, he's on the team, and he was flying around out there. So I was able. He didn't school me. He didn't undress me on any breakaways, and we had a couple one-on-ones, and I felt very good about that. 43 years old. It's not a humble brag. That's just me trying to brag in my own little way. I also had 2 goals and 1 assist, and that felt great. I know you guys want to hear more about my hockey career. My pickup men's hockey career. You're as excited about it as I am. So I will keep updating you have no fear. No, but it was fun. It's just like, it's a winter wonderland up here. They have piles of snow. It was perfect. They got a big snow just a couple days before I got here. It was perfect because it's powder everywhere. It looks beautiful. And, it happened before I had to fly out, so it didn't disrupt my travel at all, which is awesome. And yeah, being around here, I've just been driving through the neighborhoods that I grew up in and went to school in, and there is really a sort of Nutcracker-esque feeling. There was a real Nutcracker-esque feeling to parts of my childhood that are, I just cherish some of those memories. It's the hills make the views really interesting. And it adds to the scene. You have all these nooks and crannies and little hidden spots, and it just, being in a hilly town as opposed to completely flat is just, I don't know, it does something tremendous for the aesthetics of the place. And when it's all snowy in December, especially, it just looks like some kind of a Nutcracker scene. And I had moments like that, and I just think about being in living rooms with fireplaces near Christmas time, and you can just feel the cheer, and snow sparkles at night, and it looks like postcards and Christmas album covers. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. And so I've just been appreciating that. And, the snow right now is fresh snow, so there's none of the brown sand that comes in February and March when it gets kind of gray and brown or whatever. It's just, it looks amazing. So I'm really in hog heaven. I played hockey today, and then I'm going to go. Last night I went to one of the outdoor rinks and watched my niece play a little scrimmage, so that was fun. She's always super excited to have her family come and watch her, and she loves hockey. She's super into it. So it's like so fun to watch. I went to a rink after I skated with my nephews outdoors. I went to an indoor rink and watched one of them. Was in a goalie camp. He's a goalie. He's made that commitment of commitments, that life choice of life choices. He's entered that realm of being a goalie, a completely different world than all the other hockey players. And it's good. I think it fits him. His brother is quite talented, and his older brother gets a fair amount of attention. And that can be hard, I think, for a younger brother. Of course, I wouldn't know. No, but so he's going to be the goalie, and so it's apples and oranges. That's good, and I'm excited for him. So I watched him in his camp. I got a chance to talk to the guy that runs the camp, who went to college in Duluth and was a friend of mine, and I hung out with him a little bit, so that was fun to catch up with him. Saw some old high school buddies at that rink. I hadn't been in that rink in 20 years. We played a scrimmage, and when I was in college, when I came home, or pickup, I should say. What a blast from the past that was, man. The smell was the same. And the rink hasn't changed 1 inch since I left. But the smell is, even the smell is the same. I was flooded with these memories of being even 6. My older brother was playing, and there's this big long sections of stands, these old wooden stands along one side of the building, and you can watch from down there, and it's not heated. And this rink is particularly cold, so it is freezing, and parents do it. And then you can walk up these stairs, and there's an area that overlooks sort of the back end of one end, and that area is heated, and it has the whole thing's filled with windows, so and it has a little bench in front of the window, so you can sit there and watch from up there, and the concession stand is up there, and I don't know. I think it's always kind of this sociological experiment about who's going to sit where. You kids can't hear you yelling if you're in the heated area, which I'm sure is part of it for some hockey parents. They are particularly vocal. Some of it's good, some of it's not good. I kind of shake my head at it. I didn't hear a thing anyone was yelling when I was playing. I only listen to my coaches, which is the way it should be. I mean, there's plenty of people here who have a lot of hockey knowledge, and it's fine. I think if you give some tips to your nephews and sons and daughters and nieces, but it shouldn't be contradicting the coach too much unless, of course, if the coach is really, inept. But most of these coaches aren't. Most of these coaches played hockey at some kind of high level, or at least, we're pretty committed to the game and know the game. So in any case, it was amazing to be back there. These memories, like eating Airheads and drinking Gatorade and running around down in that cold area with the little kids before I started playing, when my brother was playing, and then playing myself, and seeing all the families there, and it felt like the biggest deal. When you're a kid, your games feel like the big deal. It was awesome. There's fans in the stands, and so many people here like hockey and know hockey and will comment on it, and it's there were newspapers when I was a kid that would rank the best teams in the state, and you're always checking those, and you feel like, now there's websites and apps and platforms and whatever, and it's just it's you feel like a little professional or something when you're a kid, and it's super fun. So it's a great thing that a lot of kids get to enjoy, especially when they're kids, and it was a blast from the past to be there. It was fun to see it. There was a bunch of old pictures of teams from years past, and I knew a lot of the names, and even just some of the last names I knew, if they were older brothers or dads or whatever, and all these trophies and stuff. And so it's fun. And then today I'm going to go. I played hockey, and then I hunted around for a game on an outdoor rink. But the school is still in session. The public schools are still in session, the private schools. So there's no kids out. I didn't see any college kids out. There was snow yesterday, and the rinks aren't shoveled. So that could be the reason why there weren't any college or high school or college kids. The high school kids are in school, but I thought maybe there'd be some college kids on break playing outdoors as there was playing indoors. You may hear a little loud noise here. The neighbors are remodeling, so we got a little drilling buzz going here and there, but bear with me. So that's a little bit about the holidays. I am in a great holiday spirit. I'm really starting to sink into it now. It's been a couple days to shake off, the last week. I think I'm going to give myself a holiday gift and not require a theme this week. It's going to just kind of be about my travels and about the holiday spirits. I did want to talk a little bit about, I talk a little bit about spirituality and philosophy in this podcast. And one thing that I remind myself is that the sort of the limits of what words, of the words that we use. I talked about Taoism a little bit, and in the first beginning of the Taoism, I think maybe the first sentence is, the eternal Tao cannot be named. And so it's this pointing you to, this idea that whatever we say here is just sort of kind of pointing in the direction of something, but far, far, far from exhaustive. And I think that's where studying physics can be a little helpful. If you think about the great mysteries that are still out there and the wackiness of the things that we know about, like the fact that relativity has shown us that the time is relative and space is relative, that space and time can shrink and expand, and that the speed and the position of somebody and the time that passes for somebody is relative to where they are. So if you're in one place, it'll look different to you. If you're moving at a certain speed, another person's space and time will look different to you, which is so wild. I mean, we know that. We've known it for 100 years, but we still, because we don't experience it, I think we forget it all the time. And then the quantum world where, all we can do is assign probabilities to where things are going to be, and we don't really know where things are before we see them. The theory tells us they could be in two places at once almost. So these are wild things. These point to the fact that reality is way beyond what we know, and it's there's been no system of philosophy either that's been able to with certainty or with finality exhaustively describe our reality. So I think it's just so helpful for me to know that our words, they don't have the power of capturing everything. So then you don't need to worry about whatever conclusion you've drawn. You know that if you've drawn a negative conclusion, that it's okay, because we can't know everything. So that's a little bit about that. I was going to talk a little bit about dichotomies. We think a lot, I think, in dichotomies. At least I do. And I should say, everything I say regarding spirituality or philosophy are things that it's helpful for me to remember and think about, because I'm not positioning this in any way as me trying to tell you what's what. These are things that I think are helpful for me, and if they're helpful for you, that's awesome. That's why I'm sharing it. So, but I do think that I and we have gotten into this habit of speaking in dichotomies. Doing and being are one of those. Speaking about and kind of thinking about, like, all of life is either doing or being. Of course, you can be doing something as you're being. You are being when you're doing, and you can be doing while you're being and being while you're doing. But this is kind of a common notion in sort of self-help or spirituality, or even in some traditional religions. And I think there is some, it depends on where you stand. For some people, if you spend a lot of time in sort of reading this kind of stuff that I just mentioned, you probably get a lot of messages about just being and not needing to do all the time. But if you aren't in those circles or in those conversations, then you're probably not. And I think that's really important, kind of like what I spoke about, where I think people should stop so much or looking for universals so much, and sort of focus on where they need to integrate an area of their life and to be more harmonious. And I know I need to do that. I also think that something like, when you look at this dichotomy, it's going to be different for different people. People that are really, really putting a lot of pressure on themselves to do things all the time probably would benefit from this idea of just being and not doing. And people that are maybe not doing, maybe there's some kind of a block that's keeping them from doing, would be more helpful to use their power, which they have. But I do think that, all of us spend a lot of time at work or in school or both. And, I've been in the corporate world, and I'm now in education, and there's not a lot of messaging to the people from the teachers or the principals or the managers of a company that, hey, it's okay to just be, and the messaging is usually about doing. And so I think, we spend a ton of our time and energy and thought in those worlds, and work and school. And so I do think that message, at least in the U.S. and in the West, gets more of the edge. One of my favorite authors is a woman named Anita Moorjani, and she had a near-death experience and had a pretty profound experience. And when she was on the other side, as she says, she talks about how she learned that she was worrying herself all the time, and she wasn't loving herself. She was beating herself up too much and worrying all the time. And that had made her sick, and it led to this coma and this near-death experience. She had cancer. And so she had this, profound emotional experience, and she came back and she wanted to share her message and what she learned, and her illness healed rapidly. And she talked about her kind of take on the doing and the being is, if you truly be yourself, you truly are yourself, the doing will flow from that. And you'll find what you love, you'll do what you love, and you'll have the energy to do it. I think a lot of people understand that. I know it's kind of like what I talked about before, where, there's a lot of message about just find your passion, find your passion. It's not that easy. I understand. But I do think it's true. I really do. And I think a way of doing that is not beating yourself up. Try stuff. If it doesn't work, don't beat yourself up. And don't say you were selfish for trying it or you were, I don't know, lazy for not doing some other thing or whatever. I think go for it. I mean, come on. We only have so many years, might as well, right? But yeah, a little bit about that. I wanted to get to, I talked about getting those, ordering those jerseys a few weeks ago. I said my most dangerous online purchase was the Slovakia national team jersey. It took a long time, but it came. I was very happy. We made it. I was happy with my internet judgment, I guess, as much as the jersey. It's not embroidered, which is a little bit of a disappointment. I guess I didn't read closely enough, but it's a cool jersey, and I can wear it at roller hockey where if you fall, you might hit some asphalt and tear a little here and there. But it was sweet. I was glad to get it. I also got a jersey from a 1950s Minnesota Gophers jersey, which is awesome. It has all these horizontal stripes. Kind of makes you look like a bumblebee, which I like. It's great. It took a long time to get here, but I found it. And I was on this obscure hockey jersey kick. A lot of it's kind of like vintage stuff, but I'm open to any kind of obscure, cool hockey jersey. I guess the Slovak one wasn't vintage, but in any case, I got this one I found this website, and they have all of these obscure jerseys, and this one was, the one I bought was from a Winnipeg Tigers team. They were a team in the 1920s in a league called the Western Canadian Hockey League, which I think preceded the NHL or was sort of contemporaneous with it, but it's really cool. It's got these black and yellow horizontal stripes and this tiger head crest on the center. So I was stoked to get those, and with the Gophers jersey, I wore it to my Friday night hockey, and I got home, and I decided to put my jersey back on, as well as my elbow pads, gloves, and helmet, and my stick, so I could take a look in the mirror to see how it looked. Because the glimpses in the plexiglass just weren't enough. So I've decided I'm 12 years old. That's what it comes down to. I am 12 years old. I feel good about it. I don't know. I'm 12. What can I say? I'm not going to grow out of that, I don't think. Another thing that made me feel like I'm 12 is that when I fly three times a year, probably 3 times a year. I come back to Minnesota in the summer, and I come back at the Christmas break, and then my wife Kate and I, we go somewhere. We usually try to go abroad once a year in the summer. And I still feel like I'm a rich guy when I fly. I still have this idea. I think I try to look cool, like I wear like my sunglasses, or I don't know, maybe I wear like my I wore this boater hat. Like I kind of try to think about what I wear when I go to the airport. I think I even have a little bit of a strut in my step. It's like me trying to say, yeah, I'm one of the people here going on a trip. That's kind of the thing I'm in the position to do these days. When, it's like anybody with a little bit of cash can fly. But, what can I say? I'm 12 years old. When I was at the airport, I thought about baggage claim. Baggage claim is an honor system. Really. Like, it's crazy when I think about it. Bags filled with stuff. It's valuable. There's some valuable stuff in there. There's some devices. There's probably some jewelry. Yeah, I get it that you're not going to want a stranger's clothes, but I don't know. I mean, there's probably some nice stuff that, would fit somebody. Who knows? Why don't people just grab a bag and be like a grab bag, see what they get, a little mystery bag. But we don't do it. And nobody, I keep my little bag tag every once in a while at LaGuardia. They make you show it on the way out. That's, I think, the only airport I've ever been in the world where they every once in a while do that. So we just, I think it's a thing that like everybody's so aware of all the things where we mistrust each other, distrust each other. But that's a cool thing that we still do that, and we should still do that. And if you think about it, another thing I think about with trusting other people is when you're driving down the highway, the oncoming traffic is a foot and a half away from you if you're on the inside lane, and it's just this yellow line, right, that's separating you. And yeah, they're incentivized not to cross it, but you're trusting, not their, I don't know, their morals, but you're trusting their capability. You're trusting their, competence, and that's great. Like, that's a reminder that we actually do function as a society all the time. There's so much focus on where there's conflict and gridlock, but there's, I guess it's a larger thing I might have. Like, you hear all this stuff in the news. If you just talk to your neighbors and talk to your coworkers, 99% of the people are cooperative and helpful. They're just trying to get through their day. They're hoping you get through your day in a peaceful way, in a productive way. It's easy to focus on the conflict, but I think there's a lot of harmony as well. Speaking of harmony or speaking of harmony, I wanted to talk about this time of year. Christmas always makes me think of peace and harmony. I love when people hang like peace signs. I saw that in one of the neighborhoods I drove around. I'm a peacenik. What can I say? It's my nature. I was impressed by this guy came from the UN and spoke at my college. He had worked on the Oslo Accords, and his name was Jan Englund. I still remember his name. I think he was Norwegian. And I thought that was so cool. Like, that you could broker peace. Like, what a job that must be. I have a friend and a listener, Nate, who has been, he works in diplomacy as well. And I think it's such a cool thing. And, I don't know. Maybe someday I'll be able to help in that area. But anyway, with harmony, I think about Christmas. We celebrate Christmaka because Kate's Jewish, which reminds me, what's Missy Misdemeanor Elliot's favorite bread? Holla! That's a Jewish joke and an early 2000s joke. So if you don't live in a major metropolitan area or the suburbs of one, or you're under the age of 20, I'm sorry, that joke's not for you. But, I'll try to get you with something next time. Speaking of being under 20, I think about, some of my kids sometimes, they just kind of have a work stoppage. They refuse to do anything, which I sort of was surprised by, I guess, when I first became a teacher. When in the corporate world, if somebody is opposing you or doesn't want to do what you want them to do, they'll never just like show it in your face, or they'll never say like, I don't want to do it, and they, no, like you'll get that. I'm sure I know parents know what I'm talking about. It was a shock at first because I was like, whoa, like I don't know what to do with it. But I just kept having this image in my mind of the kids, like one day I'd show up and they'd be outside picketing, like, there really would be a work stoppage. They'd be holding signs that would say like, school sucks, and get interviewed, and somebody would have to, one of the kids would say like, the teachers have to make it not suck. And I have that image in my mind of these kids being on strike. I also, I was thinking about things. I heard the other day somebody say price points, and I'm thinking to myself, do we need to say price points? This sort of connects to the idiom things, use of language that I like to talk about. I mean, the word point doesn't add anything, right? I think that's understood. It's never used to clarify some kind of complex pricing scheme. It's always somebody desperately trying to euphemize the word price, and not in a really felicitous way as they are still using the word price, but they're always trying to either sell you something or explain why you got the shit sandwich that you got. So that's a plea. Let's all just stop with that. I think I've done it myself in work and situations. I know what you're trying to do. I know what we're going through, but that's a plea. Let's stop with the phrase price point. All right, I'm going to get into the final story of the week. It's It's a bathroom story. So if you're squeamish about bathroom stories or you're pro clutcher, this might not be for you. I mean, I don't normally do bathroom stories. It's the patty pod. It's not the potty pod after all. But I'll tell a little one. I'll try to spare the details as much as I can. But I had a bit of a doozy at the Newark airport. I had to go to the bathroom, and I thought, I'll go to the airport bathroom because they are obsessed with cleanliness at airport bathrooms. I mean, they have every single one has a rating machine, and there's like often a janitor in there. And I was like, this is going to be great. It's the best public bathroom experience you can have. So I go into one in Newark. The janitor is there. There's a janitor in the bathroom with a mop and a bucket at the ready. But I have to go number 2, and all the stalls are busy. So I'm standing on this line. Finally, one opens, and I obviously have to take it. I'm next in line, but that means the janitor can't get in there in between. So I get in, and I see there's a little puddle of water on the left side of the toilet where, right where my pants will bunch at my ankles. So I got to scrunch my legs together over to the right to avoid it. So I'm a sandy wrap guy. I didn't grow up that way. I feel kind of bad because I'm always like, preaching everyone chill out, go with the flow and everything and all that. But I am. So I wipe down the seat and I try to do the sandy wrap on it. So I'm doing this, I'm putting the sandy wrap down. But as soon as I stand and then turn to sit down, it triggers the flush because it's got those laser automatic flushes because it thinks I've gotten up or whatever. So the toilet I got happens to be a sprayer, those ones that spray a little water on the seat with each flush. So immediately I bolt upright to avoid this flush as I'm remembering my COVID-conscious bosses telling me back at the beginning of COVID that the dreaded virus can be spread via fecal microbes that are aerosolized by toilets flushing. So I got my pants around my ankles. I grab a new sandy wrap as the old one got flushed, and I try it again. All the way, I'm squeezing my legs together to avoid the abominable shitter puddle on the left. Finally go. Now, I'm a vegetarian, which means that my poop is toothpaste consistency, which I told is ideal from a health perspective. It is not ideal from a wiping perspective. You have to wipe over and over and over again. It's a literal pain in the ass. So I'm a wipe till it's white guy. I made that conversion. I converted after being a 3 wipes guy as a kid. So that means I have to check every so often, see where we're at here. And it's tricky with my legs squeezed together. But I know that a failure, if I don't keep my legs squeezed together, is a rendezvous with the putrid puddle. So. And I swear, if I would have soaked my pants in that puddle, I think I would have just, I think I just would have gone home crying, probably, just skip the trip. Each time I get up, so I'm checking my wiping, I trigger the flush each time, which reminds me of COVID again. And, every time it spritzes the seat. So I end up in a 3/4 stand, crouching, and I'm wiping like a 2-year-old who's yet to master the whole procedure. So I guess I'm not 12. I'm 2. Happy holidays. Peace and love.